Well, hi again, everybody. Welcome to another episode of 100 Yards of Football. Tonight, we're going to look at the SEC Weekly Review. We're going to talk about some of the teams that are going to be playing this week. There's a couple that have a bye, but everything pertinent to the Southeastern Conference in terms of the football schedule. Here we are at week number 13. We're winding down. There's only two teams that have byes. Everybody else plays this week. And then there's Thanksgiving and rivalry week. Say that three times fast. I missed that. Rivalry week, not week. Week is my speech impediment. That's what gets me there. Juan, I know you can go back to your days as a player, as now a dad. You don't get Thanksgiving. You got to get ready for football games and traveling. And the last game of the year, in many cases, or an SEC championship possibility, or bowl games, it doesn't matter. Give us a little idea what it was like when you were playing the week before. In many instances, you're playing a team in the SEC level that is much lower. We're going to talk a little bit about that tonight, but any of your previous experience and what that was like for you, just going, I may get a chance to play a whole heck of a lot more. And if you're a starter, I may only get to play for a quarter.
Yeah, those were great times when you get an opportunity to finally get into the game. And, for if you're a freshman or a player that doesn't play a whole lot and you get to go in this huge stadium and you see anywhere from 60, 70, 80,000 people, it was really a great experience to go in there and play. And then, again, preparing for that next week, like you just talked about, rivalry week. I can't say that fast either.
Yeah, you said it three times, and then you're better than I am,
exactly,
obviously.
Knowing that you had to be on your A game to kind of tune up and get ready, which is what these teams are doing this week.
Yeah, absolutely. And from a business perspective, Vincent, some of the teams, like we're going to talk a little bit about Samford, Mercer, Western Kentucky, etc. This is a business trip for them. They're going to make some money. They're going to play against a school that should beat them pretty badly in terms of the points. You hope that you don't get anybody hurt, but this is a budget game. You're going to make enough money to help pay for the budget, or at least, get some of the things taken care of from a financial aspect. And there are a lot of folks that don't like this. I've heard some fans over the years that go, this is ridiculous. These are cupcake games. Just let the system work the way that it's designed. Nick Saban went to Kent State. And when he was the head coach at Alabama, I think there were at least 3 occasions. Every 4 years, he scheduled Kent State to play against the University of Alabama the week before Auburn and gave as much money as he possibly could get away with back to his school. They beat him up, right? For 3 quarters, they put the pedal on. Then they put the subs in, and they didn't they didn't score. But Kent State ended up walking away with a check for over 7 figures. So congratulations to them. What's your thought, first and foremost, Vincent, about that type of thing? Should people just let the game be, or is there a reason to complain and be upset about this?
No, I think what you're doing, you helping your school out that you attended, understand what Nick Saban was doing, and you'll be surprised. Them schools, the money school games, the schools that coming in playing, they be really excited because they're never going to step inside a Stanford Stadium or a Tiger Stadium or Mercedes-Benz.
Or
And the
Bryant Denny. You're right. Yep.
and the check is going to be fat where it's going to be able to really help their basketball program out, their volleyball program out, their softball program out. So, hey, I love it. I'm glad that schools are giving back and playing the smaller schools because it's just like what the OJs say. It's the mean green. Money, money, money.
Money.
Yeah.
Joey, your thoughts before we move on. I'm curious as to what you have to say about this too, because you know a little bit about this from obviously as a player, but now as a dad with a son that's at the college level. There's a different perspective possibly in how you view this as well.
I'm all for it because these are checks for these schools, but every now and then you get that Appalachian State beating Michigan. You get Georgia Southern going into Florida and upsetting Florida. So it just gives, just those teams a little bit of hope. Yeah, do they get money? And I tell you, one of the funniest things that you hear commentators say is these teams actually paid this school to come in here and beat them. So, you have those from time to time, and it makes it exciting, but it also gives those other smaller schools, gives them an opportunity to see where do they match up talent-wise.
Yeah. They'll see the there are guys that are as big in the backups for Alabama or maybe A&M as any of the other guys that they've seen ever, in their locker room. Um, Alabama, I know Nick Saban said once, I saw a quote of it just recently. He was talking about the Southern. He goes, man, those guys went through us like blah, 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 blah. And Southern played hard, and they did a great job. They weren't afraid, and good for them, right? Good for them. And occasionally stuff like that happens. But anyways, it's going to be an interesting week. Week 13 starts. We're going to talk a little bit about the first game, and this is going to be a 12 noon kick in Kyle Field here in Texas. A&M is 10-0. The Aggies are going against Samford Bulldogs. Samford is 1-10. There is no line on this one, guys. SEC Network is carrying it. Samford their guys are going to get off the bus. They're going to get dressed. They're going to play. They're going to do the best that they can. And when they're done, they're going to have their uniform on, and they're going to take a picture next to the scoreboard with all the offensive line and then all the linebackers. This is going to be a magic moment for a lot of these guys. They'll never get a chance to do this again in many cases. And I celebrate that. That's a part of college football. We'll start with you, Vincent. Give us your opinion here about the number 3 team in the country taking on Samford.
Well, I'll tell you one thing for sure. They're going to be focused mentally. I guarantee you that. Last week, when they were down 33 at halftime, I could not believe it. And actually, I thought they was going to lose the football game in a big way, but they came back, won that game in the second half, outscored South Carolina 28-0, won that game 31-30. And I read some that Mike Elko said on Tuesday. He said, I guarantee you we're not going to overlook Stanford. And at the end of the day, I expect A&M is going to roll. And I like what you just said. It's going to be like a dream come true for a lot of them Stanford players. They're going to be able to take pictures, be in front of the scoreboard, and experience that experience because that's going to be, excuse my language, that's going to be a huge ass whooping. Back to you, Harper.
Well, another thing about it, it would take Samford probably 2 years of home games to get the attendance that they're going to get there with about 103,000 people. There might be only 101, but nonetheless, it's going to be a visit of a lifetime for a lot of these guys. And that's important for me to be able to, again, to celebrate what college football is about and getting to do that. It's a very special occasion. Your thoughts here? Is it going to be an ass whooping like Vincent said, Juan? Is that pretty much, are we all in agreement there?
Yeah, it's going to be an absolute beatdown. But for Samford, they get an opportunity to experience the 12th man, probably for a quarter and a half, and then then everybody else is going to go and do their afternoon activities or whatever they're going to do.
Many years ago, a friend of mine, his name's Eric Forrest. He was a financial guy, but he played at the University of Minnesota. And they opened the season one year at Nebraska. And I asked him what it was like. He goes, well, I was a freshman, and I was on kickoff return. I lettered for the whole year because there were probably 11 kickoffs there. It was 77-3 was the final. And it may be like that at Kyle Field. But, again, 1-10 going against 10-0. Good luck, Samford. We wish you well. But I think A&M is on a mission right now. They've got you, and then they've got Texas. So you're just a conduit to get them through to the next level. Here's a game that we will talk about with a little bit of seriousness now, gentlemen. We're talking about the number 22 team in the country, and that's the Missouri Tigers. They're taking on – what an upset. Hey, Vincent, last week there was a guy of the three of us that he's right in the middle right now. He said, watch out, man. I think Oklahoma is going to take Alabama. I think they're going to do it. I'm not sure, but I sure think so. And what do you think about him being right? And what do you think about Oklahoma this week back home in Norman against Missouri?
Well, I'm going to say this. First of all, we should give Mr. Juan Daniels a big hand clap.
Absolutely.
Because really, to be honest, I didn't hear nobody else pick Oklahoma in the football game, honestly. And that includes myself. But I tell you what, Boomer Sooner showed up big time defensively. As I mentioned earlier on the show that me and you, Don Harper, in the 2 wins in the last 2 games between Tennessee and Alabama, they've had 6 turnovers that are converted into points. And I think the two turnovers that Ty Simpson had were 10 crucial points the OU needed. And like I said, they're playing defense at a high level. And we talked about Mr. Armand Hardy probably being the second best back in the country coming off a 300-yard effort. I don't see him running the ball on Oklahoma. And especially right now when Oklahoma got a college football playoff spot in their rearview mirror. And think about the Sooners. Eli Bowers, who had the key interception. Kip Lewis, who I say is one of the best linebackers in the country. People talking about the young man from Ohio State, Mr. Reese, but you need to talk about Mr. Lewis. Mr. Daniels can tell us how up and close how special a football player he is. And most of all, that I'm gonna say why Oklahoma is dangerous right now. John McTeer has not been healthy. Now he gonna start getting healthy, and once he start clicking, Boomer sooner their offense gonna start clicking. Last week was a very impressive win there in Tuscaloosa. Back to you, Hart.
Well, Joey, we go to you. We've all got crow on our face, and well, we're eating crow. I'm telling you, I thought Alabama was going to roll for the rest of the year. Obviously, we were wrong. You picked it. You've seen it, and we're not going to gloat. But congratulations on a great call there. But what are you thinking here for Oklahoma this week?
This week, just what Vincent said, right? What's in front of Oklahoma right now is that college football playoff. They have the leg up on Alabama, and trust me, they're going to be prepared. Drinkwitz is going to have his guys ready to roll. I'm sorry. Drinkwitz, they're going to get beat down. I'm sorry. let me correct that. But you can best believe Venables is going to have his guys ready to roll. Their defense is playing at a high level right now. They turned Alabama over a lot last week. John Mateer, you can tell that he's a leader. So that was one of the things that you asked me to look at, Hart, when I was at Oklahoma, just to kind of watch him and watch his mannerisms on the sidelines. Those players rally behind him, and he lifts them up to another level, and he doesn't play like he's hurt, and I think that he also draws energy from them. Oklahoma rolls, and they roll big in this game.
Defense wins championships. Do they have enough? Was that a one and done type of defensive effort that they had against Alabama, or is that how they've been playing all year, and you better expect it for the rest of the season?
That's how they've been playing all year, and you can best believe all Brent Venables needs is just a little bit of time. And if you give him time, I mean, you think about, and I'm sorry I'm going back, but that 2021 Georgia Bulldog team that won the national championship, Brent Venables was the defensive coordinator at Clemson, and Georgia literally scored 3 points in that entire game. And the only reason why they won was because of a pick six by Georgia. So, as Brent Venables gets more and more time to get prepared for these playoffs, he's going to be a dangerous, dangerous man. They're going to be a dangerous defense, and all they need is a little bit of offense, and they're going to be rolling in the playoffs.
Well, Memorial Stadium should be rocking, guys. If there's an empty seat, I'd be very, very surprised. It's a 12 o'clock kick. It's on ABC. Again, the 22 ranked team in the country, Missouri Tigers, they're 7-3. They're 3-3 in the conference, so all their conference losses, really, they were out of it after they lost last week. But the line is 7.5, and again, at Memorial Stadium there in Norman, that kickoff is at noon. A 12:45 start will be the next one that we're going to talk about here. This is another one of those games. The line is 43.5, Juan. Because they're the Georgia Bulldogs, let's talk about them first. UNC Charlotte goes up into Sanford Stadium. It's a 12:45 kick. It's on the SEC network. Charlotte is 1-9 right now. The Bulldogs are 9-1. Again, 43.5. Doesn't matter what it is. This should be a beatdown as well.
I mean, this is just going to be an absolute slaughter fest. And this is what Georgia needs. You could see, historically this year they have been starting slow. They had a great start against Texas. You can best believe they're going to come out and have a great start against the 49ers. And and they're honestly, if I'm going to be honest with you, this is one of those teams that you can overlook. This is not a trap game because they're going to have a big game against Georgia Tech in rivalry week. So this is just going to be a beatdown. All the players, freshmen, walk-ons, the kickers, the parents, everybody's going to get an opportunity to get in this game and play. Is there any chance at all that it's 10-3 at halftime? And Georgia's just played down to the competition, and they're just kind of looking at they're not the rear view mirror, but they're looking ahead of the horizon to the Yellow Jackets. Is there any chance Kirby lets that happen? There would be a better chance of stapling water to a tree than for that to happen. All right, Vincent, I don't have a bucket to staple to a tree. I can't do it, but I'm telling you right now, I believe that what Juan is saying is absolutely correct. I think the Bulldogs are being driven, especially after that big win last week. But I don't see them having any letdown at all. They can't afford it.
21, 28 points probably early in the second quarter. Let the guys get a rest. Let your second tier guys give in. I don't know what the final score is going to be, but it's a big line. Give me your impression here on the number 4 team in the country, the Georgia Bulldogs.
Last week, just a very impressive win over Texas. I know in the past months we've been talking about college football a lot on this platform. We've been talking about different teams, Ohio State, how good they are, Oregon, how good they are, Michigan, all the top teams up there, even Texas A&M. But I'm gonna tell you, and I'm not trying to say this because I'm definitely not a Georgia fan. I mean, I love Georgia, respect Georgia. Hope one doesn't get mad at me because I'm from the state of Tennessee. But I'm gonna tell you
You
that
are?
yes, sir, the
The,
901, the 901.
the
But I'm gonna tell
901, that's news to me. My
yeah.
goodness. Tell me about your Volunteers and talk about your Memphis Tigers. Just
Well,
once.
well, I'm gonna say this before I get back to Georgia.
All right.
Memphis season is over with. They got eliminated last week by East Carolina, so officially they out of the mix.
Yep.
Tennessee, they was out of the mix after Oklahoma took care of them 2 weeks ago. So right now I don't have no dog in the fight as far as me cheering for my favorite state teams, and of course you know where my Hogs are at. They fighting for life right now at 2-8 under Bobby Petrino. But getting back to Georgia. That win last week told me two things about the Bulldogs. They got the best coach in all of college football. It's not even close. Number two, Gunnar Stockton. I said it early show, and you said, I know your comments, what you said, Hop, really? But I'm telling you, if he plays well this week, plays well against Georgia Tech, they get to the SC championship game, he gets my vote for the Heisman. And I say this, I'm gonna say this. Can nobody look me in my face and tell me when Georgia started the season that they didn't know what they had in Gunner Stockton? They was very optimistic. But see, I go like this, and I'm giving back to you, Harper. Big time players playing big time games. Greatness. That young man last week against Texas accounted for all 5 touchdowns. And Arch Manning supposed to have been the best player on the field? I don't think so. And I've been talking about Fernando Mendoza out of Indiana all year long and Dante Moore. But my man right now that needs to have a seat in New York is Gunnar Stockton. And I'm gonna tell you this. Think about Georgia right now. They have not really, I want to say, play a really perfect game until last week. And now their defense is starting to rock. Chris Cole and KJ Bolden. I hate to say this because I got a lot of Georgia fans. That's the team I'm gonna pick to win it all. I'm gonna say it this evening here on 100. I mean, excuse me, on that SEC show. Georgia's my team to win it all this season. Back to you, Mr. Hopper LaBelle.
Juan, do you have any comments on that? He threw a lot at you.
We'll see after the SEC championship.
Well, I know Ohio State and Indiana will have something to say. Notre Dame will want to participate as well, and who knows what else. I like the confidence.
Yeah.
Juan, do you think there was any chance at the beginning of the year? I remember when Ben Roethlisberger was a rookie, and they finally put him in after about 4 or 5 games, and basically even the announcers were going, "Just don't lose the game, okay? Just hand it off here. We've got a good running game. Get the 3rd and 5. Give it to the tight end and get 6. Get the first down. Keep the sticks moving. Just manage the game." I think Gunnar Stockton was told that at the beginning of the year, with Carson Beck leaving and, him being given the keys to the car and brand new in the situation. And I think he's matured and gotten so much better. I know you don't spend a whole lot of time watching Georgia. You're obviously in different parts of the country watching your Auburn Tigers. But in terms of an alumni, I'm impressed with what he's done. I know there are a lot of people that were criticizing him early. Well, we're just struggling. Look, they're 9-1. They're number 4 in the country. Back off. The kid's playing well.
Yeah, I mean, I think he plays within the offense, and the other part too is Mike Bobo, who everybody had the most criticism about, has done a great job of play calling, and Gunnar believes in it, right? And if you think about it, when Gunnar was coming out of school, he originally committed to South Carolina. That's where Mike Bobo was. So Mike Bobo has always had his guy, and he's had the guy that says, "Hey, if you could just play within the offense, do what I ask you to do, we're going to be fine." And then now they're starting to click. Where before, he had to get used to it, and they had those slow starts, and now they're starting to click at the right time.
Yeah. Very interesting. Well, Sanford Stadium will be rocking. And last home game, because the game against Tech, that's here in Atlanta. So 12:45, an unusual start time, but that's on the SEC network at Sanford Stadium there in Athens. Next game we're going to look at is a 2 o'clock kick, Bryant-Denny Stadium, Tuscaloosa. Room for about 106,000. I doubt there'll be that many. Vincent, we'll start with you. Eastern Illinois is 3-8. They're going against the number 10 team in the country who was just upset last week. I'm going to let Joey go. Joey, I'm going to let Juan go another couple seconds before he gets the other half of his gloat in on this prediction. I think Alabama will stop at about 85 or 90 points on scoring. They're going to have this will be a beatdown as well, at least in my opinion, because they've got to reconcile what happened last week against Oklahoma, and they've only got 2 games left. They've got this one, and then they got next week against Auburn.
Hey, you got to think about this with Caleb DeBoer and Ty Simpson and how they felt after their game last week, especially Ty Simpson, because his 2 turnovers really was the difference in the football game. And you're looking at the young man, and I saw the press conference after the game, and you could see a lot of hurt in his eyes because he had a lot of great awards waiting for him. They win that football game and they win the Iron Bowl and go to the SEC championship. He definitely winning the Heisman. Then everybody talking about, which I checked on today, some of the 2026 NFL draft boards, they still got him as the top pick in the draft, at least 3 websites. But of course, Harper, I'm gonna agree with you and give it back to you very quickly. Alabama's gonna come in there very upset, and they're gonna take it to Eastern Illinois, the school that Sean Payton played quarterback at, Jimmy Garoppolo and Tony Romo. So get ready, cause Tuscaloosa's gonna run the score up. They upset
Juan,
right now. Roll
Juan,
Tide.
I'm pretty sure you're going to agree wholeheartedly, but I know you don't want to like Alabama. There's a distinct difference but what they did last week and how they played, you called it. What's it look like for this week? I can't imagine they beat up the guys too much. They're going to let them figure that out against Eastern and then get themselves ready for Auburn.
Yeah, they're going to get in, get out, right? Right. This is a game where you don't want any starters to get hurt. You don't want any mishaps because this game, the next week in the Iron Bowl, is probably going to be the biggest game of Kalen DeBoer's short career at Alabama. They lose the Iron Bowl, they do not go to the college football playoffs, and that's it. So right now, there's very little focus on Eastern Illinois. It's just, again, they're just kind of in the way. Let us make it to that Iron Bowl injury-free. So again, the starters may play maybe 1 or 2 drives and then let the other guys take care of the rest.
Yeah, completely different vibe with that loss. Absolutely, because of Florida State earlier in the year. Otherwise, it wouldn't have been as big a deal. But obviously, it is. All right, next game, Juan. We're going to start with you. You'll be there. Auburn gets to host at Jordan-Hare Stadium. Another 2 o'clock start. This is on the SEC network as well. Mercer Bears, they're 9-1. I said just before we went on the show, I said, watch out for Mercer. It may not be a blowout. I mean, Auburn should win this game quite handily. There is no spread on it, but I'm telling you, Mercer can play. Now, they're a lower level for obvious reasons. They don't have the same type of guys in their locker room, but they're fundamentally sound, and they have been for the last couple of years. Juan, we'll start with you.
FCS schools like Mercer are very dangerous. I mean, you look at last year, you looked at North Dakota State playing Colorado and had an opportunity to beat them. They're coached very well. These are a lot of kids that say, you know what, we were overlooked. We have an opportunity to show them. And historically, Mercer has actually played Auburn pretty tough in Jordan-Hare. So This is not going to be an easy game. They're not going to have their starting quarterback, Ashton Daniels, for this game. They're going to have either the freshman Deuce Knight or Jackson Arnold is going to start, and they both are going to play. So this is a game it's a must-have game. We win this game, and it's you're going to be 5-6 with an opportunity for a big, huge Iron Bowl looming. So Auburn wins that game. Not only do they knock Alabama out of the college football playoffs, but that also makes them bowl eligible. Then you also get bragging rights for the week. So I look for Auburn to go and take care of business against Mercer, try to come out injury-free to get ready for that Iron Bowl.
Yeah, Vincent, well said there by Juan. I don't know if I could add anything different, but he did have that scouting report on the quarterback situation going on there at Auburn. He seems to have the in the know type info. I really like that.
I think Mercer is a very tough FCS school. They just won the Southern Conference. They went undefeated. They got a good head coach in Mike Jacobs that a lot of people haven't heard of. Their quarterback, Brandon Akerson, is pretty well, good football player. He's thrown for 33 touchdowns this year, over 3,200 yards. I
Wow.
think the game is going to be very close simply because of this. Auburn is not going to have a quarterback. And Mr. Daniels can probably explain that, but that's huge right there. You talking about losing a young man that came off a game of over 400 yards against Vanderbilt. So now I don't care who you playing, you taking a lot of offensive production out of your offense, but I expect Auburn's going to win the game, but I wouldn't be surprised if the game is closer than what we think. Back to you, Hart.
Yeah, that's very interesting. Juan, if you don't want to, we'll move forward. But if you want to kind of express a little bit about what the situation is, it's it is a business decision. There's nothing wrong with Ashton physically. It's just there's a reason. If you want to express it, fine. If you want to just move
Yeah,
forward,
absolutely. So, and obviously in college football these days, you can play in 4 football games and still be able to keep your red shirt if you have not used your red shirt. So Ashton has played in Arkansas, Kentucky, and Vanderbilt. And so in order for him to keep his red shirt, he's going to have to sit out this Mercer game and then obviously have an opportunity to play in the Iron Bowl. So, we had an opportunity to sit down with the coaches and, Coach Durkin came out in a press conference and said, hey, one of the things that we want to do is be accountable to these kids and think about their future. And so what a wonderful gesture by Coach Durkin and Auburn to allow Ashton to have an opportunity to come back and play for Auburn next year by allowing him to have his red shirt.
and let's give a little credit where it's due, Vincent. Ashton went to Stanford, 3 years there, got his degree. He's done. He's got his degree. Then he transfers through the portal, goes to Auburn, has to sit for a few games, gets to play, and is offered a chance to play for another year and come back next year, and decides to do so. So he's working on his master's. Are you kidding me? What a great financial situation and an academic one and athletic to give him another year to mature, to get better, to improve, and hopefully lead from start to finish, right? And I love it. I think it's what a great story. And so this game he will have to sit in order to be eligible for next week's game. And gosh, what are you kidding me? Getting to go against Bama? I hope he tells you a few years from now, not in the Dad, I didn't get any sleep at all, or I slept like a baby. I was so relaxed because I knew what I needed to know and I was ready to go. Yeah. Give me one quick little thought about as a dad, how that is for you.
It's insane. It's incredible. And then I was listening to a podcast today that says he's probably going to play in the biggest college football game in his life. I mean, just the history of the Iron Bowl. I mean, people, are fighting and scratching each other's eyes out. Number one, just to get tickets, but just to be a part of it. It's a home game. It's going to be rowdy. And then there's so much to play for. Like, that's the pressure. I'm looking at as a dad is like, wow, like not only are you going to get an opportunity to get bowl eligible, but you knock your biggest rival off to keep them out of the playoffs. I mean, what a joy that would be. So it's insane.
And from your perspective too, now that you were a Bulldog as a player, and now as a dad, you're a War Eagle, the whole thing. And William Andrews, Cadillac Brown, you've got Cam Newton, you got Bo. You don't have nearly as many guys that were critically important to the college game as what Alabama has had, but it doesn't matter. Those wins that you get, that kick return a couple years ago still sends shivers down my spine when they missed that field goal. And I can't remember the kid's name, but the explosion of that crowd. You're smiling. I am too. It's just one of those great moments in college football history.
Yeah, it was crazy. And then also, too, the little Hail Mary that they did where the Georgia guy jumps up and tips the ball into the Auburn guy's hands, and he's running into the end zone. So it's they call that the prayer at Jordan Hare. So they just had so many special things that have gone on. And even Nick Saban, his last couple of times, going in there, they needed, Nick Saban needed like 6 overtimes to beat them, I think, in 21, and then they come back and they have that 4th and 31, for them to win. So it's been tough sledding for Alabama, even though they've come out with wins. So hopefully this year, we'll be able to, come out victorious.
Vincent, I'd be remiss if I didn't ask you. You probably got some game from 1962 that you remember everything about. I know that there is nothing that slips by your memory in terms of great games, and especially from the Iron Bowl perspective.
1971, baby. The Italian Stallion, Johnny Musso. Remember that? John Mitchell. Auburn had Pat Sullivan and Terry Beasley. Alabama 31, Auburn 7. And then Alabama went on and played their undefeated 1971 Nebraska team. See how God is in this plan, because on our college football show, this gentleman, me and him got to talk about the 71 Thanksgiving Day game between Oklahoma and Nebraska. That's who Alabama ended up playing Nebraska for the national championship, and Oklahoma played Auburn in the Sugar Bowl that year. Back to you, Hart.
Yep, great memories, all kinds of cool stuff that happened, and we get to be a part of the college football scenery in terms of talking about it, bringing it back, and hopefully it means something to you guys, our viewers, as well. So Mercer, 9-1, goes to the 4-6 Auburn Tigers. That game again at 2:00. Next games will be at 3:30. This one has national ramifications. This will be on ESPN. It's a 3:30 kick from First Bank Stadium. Vanderbilt's a 9.5-point favorite. They're the number 14 team in the country, Vincent. They're 8-2. They're 4-2 in the conference. They're going against a 5-5 Kentucky Wildcat team. Kentucky is 2-5. This will be a big game for both of them, but Vanderbilt really needs this in order to keep their hopes alive in any aspirations for the playoff.
Mr. Diego told us at the SEC Media Days that Vanderbilt was supposed to be at this spot right now. He guaranteed that Vanderbilt was going to be a tough football team. Little did I know, I thought he was just maybe blowing smoke, but this is a very good Vanderbilt football team. But they're playing a Kentucky team that's playing their best football right now. 2 weeks ago, they beat Florida 38-7. I don't have to say no more. But I expect Vanderbilt is going to run, and then next week, the meeting with the University of Tennessee on the Hill, that's going to be for all the marbles for Vanderbilt maybe winning that football game and getting into the college football playoffs. But I expect Vanderbilt's going to take care of their business today. And one thing that Harper told me, when Vanderbilt was having, I think, a lot of success early on, and I asked Harper, I said, why is they having success so much? What you say, Harper? They got how many players now?
Oh, they got all these graduate kids that have already graduated. There's 21 guys on their roster. The experience and the wisdom that they have in their locker room is second to none.
That's huge. Back to you, sir.
Juan, your perspective, you were there just a couple of weeks ago there in in Nashville, excuse me, and getting a chance to see it's not as wild as a crowd, especially from the student section standpoint. I don't think they know what to do yet. It's not a football school per se. We're going to make a lot of money when we're done school. Okay, we're going to go to school. It's going to be difficult on us, but I'll be doggone, that football team is pretty stinking good and has been for a couple of years.
This one right here, I'm gonna smash my possible upset button right
Are
here.
you really?
Kentucky, the last couple of weeks defensively have been playing lights out. They go to Jordan Hare and completely shut down Auburn's high octane offense that they played that next week against Vanderbilt, and then they absolutely just crushed Florida defensively. Whatever Mark Stoops has done, whatever he's switched up, they have bought in defensively, and then they're also scoring points as well. Florida has a really, really good defense, and for Kentucky to score 30 points on them, that was shocking. So this one right here, listen, it's about Kentucky having pride, and they're probably just as sick as everybody else of hearing Diego talk all that smack. I see them coming up, being prepared and wanting to go out there and be, the ones that upset Vanderbilt here.
And become bowl eligible with another game to play.
Yes.
Yeah, I see the motivation is there. Vincent, any comment on that?
Hey, I got to agree with Juan. Hey, I think it's going to be a close football game. I'm still taking Vanderbilt in a close one, but I wouldn't be surprised if Kentucky pull out the upset because they've really been playing excellent football over the last month. No question about it. Back to you,
Again,
Hart.
again, it's a 3:30 start on ESPN. Vanderbilt a 9.5 point favorite in this one at First Bank Stadium there in Nashville. Next game we're going to look at, guys, Arkansas Pig Sueys. Vincent, I got to start with you. DKR Texas Memorial Stadium in Austin will be hosting your Pig Suey Arkansas Razorbacks. They're 2-8. They're 0-6 in the conference. Vincent, this is Bobby Petrino's. It's his cross to bear, I guess. They haven't been able to do a lot of things, but Texas, obviously, a lot of errors out of the balloon after that loss. They're 7-3 right now. They're 4-2 in the conference, and really they're out officially. And they're already bowl eligible. That's good for them, but what their aspirations were being, especially after the last couple of years with Quinn Ewer. Is it a disappointing season thus far, even though they can win this game and then maybe pull an upset against A&M? And believe it or not, that would be an upset right now with the way A&M is playing. Give me your thoughts here on this one.
I'm going to start with the question you just asked me about Texas. Is it a disappointing season? Of course. You come in preseason #1, you got the generational talent at quarterback. You got all this history behind him, his uncles, 2 Super Bowl winners. Texas, if we go back and rewind and go back in the summer, everybody's picking Texas as they national champions.
Yeah.
And to be honest, they've struggled on offense. Arch Manning has struggled. And last week, after the way they got beat down in Athens, of course, the people in Texas, the alumni, the boosters, all that landman money, of course they upset. And to tell you the truth, I don't know how this game is going to go. Arkansas is really playing with house money. They 2-8 on the year, but Arkansas has got a very good offense. Taylor Green, excuse me, is a very good quarterback. I think he's going to be a high NFL draft pick, second or third round pick. Mike Washington is a quality running back, 6'1", 230 pounds. One can tell us how good he is because he saw him up close and personal. This is an Arkansas team that can score points. And you coming in with a Texas team, is the balloon busted? Because what else you playing for? A bowl? That wasn't the expectations in Austin this season. Let's be real, gentlemen. It was about winning it all with Arch Manning. Back to you, Hart.
Yeah, absolutely agree with all of that. That locker room might be a completely different vibe now after that loss against Georgia. And obviously, as a Bulldog, Juan, that was a big win for you. But let's pick up the pieces here with Texas.
Yeah, I mean, again, just talking about, to follow up with what Vince said is the disappointment and all the hype. And now you're just a regular pedestrian team that's fighting to play in a decent, in a decent bowl game. Texas should be very afraid of Arkansas this week because Arkansas has nothing to lose. And what a huge step and a huge win for the program if they go and upset Texas. So that's going to be my softer possible upset alert.
Okay, you're not pushing the button quite as hard, but you get your finger. You get your finger right next to it. Is that what I'm understanding?
Just a little tap.
Okay, little tap. Okay, 3:30 on ABC. So this is still a network game. They want to see it. All right, next we're going to look at Coastal Carolina. They are 6-4 right now. They are bowl eligible. They beat Georgia State just a week ago. They go to Williams-Brice Stadium. They take on a 3-7 South Carolina Gamecock team. This is a 23.5 point favorite. I am a Sun Belt guy. I think that you've had Appalachian State. You mentioned Georgia Southern. We've talked about Louisiana. There's some other teams that have been a part of some real big wins. Georgia State beats Tennessee a couple years ago. They're capable. And if South Carolina doesn't bring their A game, I'm just going to say there could be. I'm not tapping the button like what Juan is doing, but I'll start with you, Juan, on this one. I think Carolina should win it. But if there's something going on that nobody knows about, but their guys aren't ready and Bremer's in trouble, this is not the game that you want to lose.
I can comfortably say that South Carolina will win the first half. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. I mean, they won the first half against Texas A&M last week, big time. They won the first half against Alabama not too long ago. It's just a matter of can they put it together for 4 quarters, and that's just been their issue this year. I believe that for the first time they're going to put together 4 quarters and beat Coastal Carolina because it really, really means something to them.
Okay, fair enough. Vincent?
I kind of want to piggyback off what Juan said. I think South Carolina is going to play a very balanced football game, but I think they're going to have to play a balanced football game because I think it's a huge football game for Shane Beamer. A lot of rumors coming out of Columbia is that he's disgruntled. The program, they're not satisfied. Then the moves he made, hiring Mike Shula as offensive coordinator, that not working out. The offensive line being very bad this year, having an NFL type quarterback. And then you know Shane Beamer, he's fiery. And if they lose this game to Coastal Carolina, I'm not saying now, I don't want y'all to be saying I'm bringing up this coaching rumor. Shane Beamer and South Carolina might be moving in different directions. We need to watch this football game here. Because if South Carolina some way loses this football game, somebody's going to be really unhappy. And rumors are Shane Beamer and the boosters and the people that pay that money in Columbia, they're not on the same page. Back to you, Hart.
Well, they have Coastal, and then they obviously they finish up against the right now 5-5 Clemson Tigers. That's always the rivalry week game that they have. Juan, your perspective here on this one. Just one more thing in terms of what Vincent just said.
Yeah, I mean it's Shane Beamer. This is kind of his last gasp. Hope that they beat Coastal
Yep.
Carolina and Clemson, and if he does not beat both of them, it's going to be tough on him.
Yeah, the way they've let some people go already, it could be a knock on the door from the athletic director sometime in the very near future. Next game we want to look at, here's another SEC game that we want to talk about. This will be on ABC at 7:30. Tennessee is a 4.5-point favorite. The number 20 Vols are 7-3. They're 3-3 in the conference. Florida Gators are 3-7. They are 2-5 in the conference. You just said a couple things, Juan, a few moments ago about Kentucky and their defense. Give me your perspective here. I know Vincent's going to be rooting for the Vols. Do you agree with him?
Yeah, I mean, this is a Jekyll and Hyde game. I mean, you got both of these guys played Georgia so close and have an opportunity to win, and then you got a Gator team that goes and get completely blown out against Kentucky, and Tennessee's had opportunities to not only vie for a playoff spot, but have a chance to go and play in the SEC championship, and then they just fall apart. So
yeah.
This game, I'm going to say it's like a box of chocolates. You just don't know what you're going to get. Like, I have no idea which way to go.
Tennessee loses to Georgia 44-41. Remember that game back and forth and stuff? This seemed like it was so long ago. They lose to Alabama. They beat Kentucky 56-34. They score 56 points, and then 2 weeks later, Kentucky does what they did. It's unbelievable. They lose a close one to Oklahoma. So, Vincent, it's been a this close type of season there for Tennessee. And they're a good team. Joey Aguilar's thrown for just under 3,000 yards right now. He's got 22 touchdowns. He had a great season.
Well, you have to look at it like this. Coming into the season, there was a situation happened when Nico I decided to lead. There was a lot of turmoil behind the program. Then Joey Aguilera came in. We didn't know what he was going to be. He turned out to be a decent quarterback. But I think the most disappointing thing, as you just mentioned, Harper, and you just mentioned one, both of y'all, Tennessee was in some games that they could have won, and we could easily be talking about them in the college football playoffs from game management. Aguilera throwing key interceptions, throwing the key pick before halftime against Alabama. Think about if Tennessee goes in and score that touchdown. It's a 13-12, close game at halftime. It's just been so many plays that's just had the Vol Nation on the rocks. They missing the field goal in regulation, forcing the Georgia game in overtime. Could have won that football game. Then a lot of Josh Heupel's coaching decisions. And after the Oklahoma game, there was a lot of people, a lot of Vol fans was questioning, is Heupel going to be able to get us over the top? Is he Butch Jones too? And then there was a lot of other Tennessee fans saying, hold up, now look what we said after Jeremy Pruitt left. But right now, this is a game that, to be honest, I don't really have no really bearing because at Tennessee, the way the season started, if you're a Vols fan, it's national championship and getting into the college football playoffs, especially all the opportunities you and had. So I don't know really to take this. They playing in the swamp, and now you looking at Florida. They played well against Georgia, and I thought they had turned the corner with DJ Lagway. Then they come back and get, as Juan said, get smoked by Kentucky. So this is a game that, hey, we really don't. I don't know what's going to happen, but I guess Tennessee is going to win it in a close game because I read this morning Caleb Banks, one of the top defensive tackles in the country, is going to be back in the lineup for Florida, and he's one of the top D tackles on the board in the 2026 NFL draft. Back to you, Hart.
Well, and it's a shame that Vincent doesn't have any passion for Tennessee, isn't it? Just a damn shame.
I
No,
think
you want me to be honest. I mean, hey, I'm hurting inside because what does the game mean? And you got to understand. So y'all don't want to tell the truth this evening, but I'm gonna tell you the truth. Georgia fan base, Tennessee fan base, Alabama fan base, LSU fan base. This season, it was college football playoff or not. All these fan bases thinking national championship, and when that doesn't happen, it makes for good podcast and radio listening. Back to you, Hop.
All right, well, I'm picking up here Tennessee and Florida.
give me Tennessee. I think Tennessee shows up. Joey Aguilar is going to do a great job. I think that defensively they're going to put pressure on Lagway or the freshmen, depending on who they play. And I just think that Tennessee, they step up this week.
They're the number 3 team in the country in terms of passing, 318 yards a game. And they're number 2 in scoring, 43. So I think their offense should be good enough. And you said earlier that Florida's defense is good, but I don't know if they're good enough to at least slow down Tennessee to the point where they've got a chance. That's just my opinion. Either of you disagree?
I have to disagree to a certain extent because, true or not, Tennessee got all the great offensive numbers. They got Aguilera's had a great year throwing the football, but remember this: he's throwing a lot of picks too. Remember that in key ball games. Some of them went for pick sixes. But I just think, what are you really playing for? I mean, you're out of the mix, and I think Tennessee in previous times they've came out and struggled in games like this and not played with energy. And you got Florida. We don't know who the coach is going to be right now. Lane Kiffin, they got an interim coach, but if Florida goes back and play like they did against Georgia, they're gonna win that football game, man. So that's my final opinion on it. Sorry. Back to you, Hart.
7:30 at ABC. The kick is Tennessee 7-3 at Florida, which is 3-7. Final game we're going to look at, guys, is Western Kentucky. They're 8-2 right now. The Hilltoppers having a pretty good season. They go into LSU. They'll take on the Tigers. They're 21.5-point favorites. LSU is. Vincent, we'll start with you.
One thing I'm gonna tell you about you Bengals, and congratulations to Frank Wilson getting his first win last week as the interim coach for LSU. They do a lot of drinking down there in Tiger Stadium. But I'm gonna tell you this: this is a Western Kentucky team that can come in here and beat you. They got some really good offensive players. Rodney Tisdale is a very excellent, good quarterback. Marcus Parrish is one of the top running backs in the country we haven't heard of. Matthew Henry can make it happen on the outside. And you looking at LSU, their type of team, and that's why Brian Kelly got fired. They were up, they were down. One game, the offensive line is not good. Nussmeier is struggling. Next week, their defense can't stop nobody. Second half against Texas A&M. True enough, remember this: they got down 14-0 last week against Arkansas. Had to come back and win that football game. I'm not saying that they're not going to come out and play a perfect game and beat Western Kentucky, as you just said, Hopper. They're a 14-point favorite. But I wouldn't be surprised if this is a close game and Western Kentucky end up upsetting them down there in Baton Rouge. Back to you, Hawk.
Western Kentucky, they go to LSU. I want to make sure. You haven't seen LSU, have you?
Yeah, I've seen. Not in person.
No, not this year. I wasn't sure, and I was thinking just before I go, yes, you and I wasn't sure. So, it's a great program. I just know they're a mess right now. They've got a whole lot of reasons to not want to win this game. Tell me what your opinion is, and I think LSU will win it, is what you're going to say. But I don't know. Western Kentucky could pull something out.
Like I've been saying all year, LSU's problem has been offensive. And, if they can't score, or if they're going to let, Western Kentucky hang around, to Vincent's point, they have a really, Western Kentucky has a really good offense. This is another one that, it's that soft tap, upset alert right here. This is one that's, again, you can't let, teams hang around. You just can't do it. And for Western Kentucky, man, what a great win for our program. If we go into Baton Rouge and pull this upset, they have that on their mind. And right now, LSU's in disarray, still trying to find out who's the coach is going to be. The offense has been struggling, and that affects and that runs in, over into the defense. So a lot of confusion. So, Western Kentucky may take advantage of that.
Appalachian State is still getting checks from people that want to say, hey, thank you for beating Michigan. It was a decade ago, and they still do that. Western Kentucky could do something just like that, and that would be just a barely tap, right, for the upset special. But it's a possibility because they're good enough to do it at 8-2. I don't think they have the same size, speed, or talent level at all at what LSU has, but LSU is not playing together, and that's a recipe for disaster if you're a Tiger and they come in, the Hilltoppers come in, and they are focused and can make things happen. So a lot of interesting games this week. We went over all 10 of them. There are 2 byes, two schools, Mississippi and Mississippi State. They'll be playing in the Egg Bowl next week. They're the only 2 that have a bye this week. Everybody else will be playing in one way, shape, or form. Vincent, final thoughts before we go.
Hey, we're getting down to the season. It's getting exciting. Next week is rivalry week, as y'all gentlemen just said. Going to be some huge football games, and it's going to get better and better. Can't wait till the college football players start. And I'm going to stay on my pick. I'm going to stay strong with this. Georgia's my national champion.
Well, yeah, we heard it here first from Vincent Turner. That's going to be an interesting pick. And as things progress, we'll find out a little bit more. And the horizon is looming close because we are just a few games away from championship games, etc. But this is that week where you play some schools that are a little bit lower than you. There's a lot of that. One, just a basic overall perspective. If you focus, if you take care of your business, you got rivalry week next week, and those are the games you got to get ready for. But you better pay attention to what's in front of you this Saturday.
Oh, yes, indeed. But even more so for Vanderbilt and Oklahoma, you have to win. If you want to have those playoff aspirations, you absolutely have to win. And if not, I mean, your season is basically going to be the same as Tennessee, where you're just hoping to get a pretty decent bowl game, hopefully after January 1st.
Yeah, the rankings here right now: Tulane, Texas Tech, Notre Dame, Oklahoma, Miami, Ole Miss, Alabama, and Oregon would all be playing that first week. You've got byes with Georgia, Ohio State, Texas A&M, and Indiana, and that would be the Week 13 scenario right now as the playoff exists. So very interesting how that is been in place, and we'll find out whether or not there are some changes this week. Go ahead, Vincent.
Yes, I forgot to mention one more thing. I know it's the SEC show, but I'll be wrong. I want to give congratulations to the pretty boy himself, Chico DeBarge, Mr. James Franklin, being the new head coach of Virginia Tech. And as Mr. Franklin said yesterday when he was at the press conference, how you like them apples?
You like apples? How you like them apples? All right, we hope you guys like apples. We hope you like the show as well, the SEC preview. Obviously, we look at each of the games throughout the SEC schedule, and we've got perspective from a former Arkansas Razorback, from a former UGA Bulldog, and a gentleman that also in the same body encompasses the Auburn Tigers. So you get a completely different and unique perspective. And we're glad that you were a part of the show. We appreciate it. Come back next week and watch again, or tell some friends about it. We appreciate you being a part of the 100 Yards of Football programming. Subscribe if you will. But for now, Juan Daniels, for Vincent Turner, I'm Harper LaBelle saying thank you, everybody. Have a fantastic